Mr. Speaker, let me now turn to infrastructural development and growth. Mr. Speaker, in order to achieve our objective of having in place world-class infrastructure, the government will continue with the ongoing public investments in road, rail, ports, energy and water supplies in order to propel Kenya's economy towards prosperity. Much progress, Mr. Speaker, has been achieved in the implementation of the road rehabilitation and construction program, and a number of key projects in the road sector has been completed. We will also step up road transport safety and regulations that is aimed at developing and implementing road transport policies for an efficient, effective, safe and decongested transport system. Mr. Speaker, some of the major ongoing projects include the Northern Corridor Transport Improvement Project, decongestion and improvement of the roads in cities and urban areas, rehabilitation of access roads, and the LAPSET project. The government will continue to enhance road network connectivity across the country with the aim of enhancing trade, commerce, agricultural productivity, and regional trade. To this effect, Mr. Speaker, the government has earmarked for construction 3,800 kilometers of low-volume sealed roads across the length and breadth of the country to open up rural areas and farmlands. Mr. Speaker, to decongest the major urban areas, the government will continue with the expansion of the major roads. Currently, dualling of the Outer Ring Road in Nairobi is progressing well, and the dualling of Ngong Road to Adams Arcade has started and is expected to be completed in the next 2 years. Further, Mr. Speaker, the government, in partnership with the Nairobi City County, will be fast-tracking the realization of the Nairobi Metropolitan Mass Rapid Transport System and implementation of the Nairobi Metropolitan Transport Authority Bill. Mr. Speaker, the construction of the standard gauge rail SGR from Mombasa to Nairobi has progressed well and is now over 80% complete and is expected to be launched by June 2017 by His Excellency the President. Mr. Speaker, this rail will significantly reduce the cost of transport, facilitate faster and cheaper movement of freight and passengers, and enhance competitiveness of the economy, thereby positioning Kenya as a regional business hub. In this budget, Mr. Speaker, I have further allocated 154.4 billion Kenya shillings for the SGR, of which 118.2 billion is externally financed from China, and 36.2 billion is UK contribution. Regarding phase 2 of the SGR that will run from Nairobi to Naivasha, we have already concluded discussions on funding, and we expect construction to start in the financial year 2016-2017. Mr. Speaker, with the completion of the new rail, there will be developments of industrial parks along the SGR line at Dongokundu in Mombasa, Voi, Tito Andei, Nairobi, and Naivasha, which will help boost our manufacturing sector and its contribution to GDP and help create jobs for our youth. Mr. Speaker, the government has made good progress on reforms and modernization of the port of Mombasa, especially in expansion of container terminal. This, together with the ongoing integration of the single window system and other related systems will facilitate faster, efficient and competitive clearance of cargo, positioning the port of Mombasa as the preferred hub in East and Central Africa. In air transport, Mr. Speaker, the screening yard and the security toll gates at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport has been completed, while rehabilitation work at the 5 airstrips, Nanyuki, Ikanga, Lodwar, Embu, and Malindi, and the expansion and modernization of Isiolo and Kisumu airports are ongoing. Going forward, Mr. Speaker, we will scale up the ongoing airports expansion and modernization, commissioning the new Terminal 1E and commence work on the second runway at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, expected to be completed by the year 2018. We also plan to commence the expansion of the Eldoret International Airport to enable large cargo planes to land and position it as a transport hub. Mr. Speaker, to realize some of the interventions I have highlighted above, I have allocated, including external financing, a total of 117.6 billion and 30 billion for low volume steel roads. Of these, 23.8 billion will be through the normal ministerial roads budget, while 6.7 billion will be from the equalization fund, specifically for the marginalized areas. For the ports, Mr. Speaker, I have allocated 0.8 billion for ongoing upgrading of Malindi Airport, Isiolo Airport, Suneka Airstrip, and Lokitogyo Airport, and 0.5 billion for acquisition of 2 ferries for the Likoni Channel, 5.5 billion for the Mombasa Port Development Project financed by development partners, and 10 billion Kenya shilling for the LAPSET project. In order to boost the regional trade, Mr. Speaker, the government will prioritize the construction of the East Africa Road Network, which is the Voi, Mwatate, Wundanyi, and Malindi, Mombasa, Lunga road sections. The construction of the Kisumu-Kakamega Road under the Kenya Transport Sector Support Program, and the construction of the 600-kilometer South Sudan link road are currently ongoing. Mr. Speaker, our commitment to provide affordable and competitive electrical energy remains on course. Significant progress has been made towards generation of 5,000 megawatts of power. To date, 615 megawatts of power have been added to the national grid, and these have significantly reduced the cost of power. Mr. Speaker, we will continue to exploit the vast geothermal resources that Kenya is endowed by creating a conducive environment for investors to invest, including providing a competitive power purchase agreement, PPA, letters of support, and risk guarantees arrangement. Further, Mr. Speaker, we expect to produce 300 megawatts of power from the wind in the next 1 year with the ongoing works at Lake Turkana Wind Project. These resources are expected to increase our clean energy mix, cementing Kenya's position as world leader in renewable energy. The additional power supplies, Mr. Speaker, will significantly reduce the cost of doing business, spur growth of enterprise and industries, and accelerate the creation of jobs in the industrial and other sectors. Mr. Speaker, we are implementing a program to connect at least 70% of Kenyans households to electricity by 2017, and subsequently reduce the connection cost and time by at least 60% in the medium term. Already, about 5 million households, 14,950 public primary schools, and 980 public facilities have been connected to electricity under this program. Mr. Speaker, to fund specific intervention in the energy sector, we have allocated 120.2 billion, of which 81.6 billion is from our development partners, and 38.5 billion is GOK in financial year 2016-2017. This will cater for geothermal development, power transmission, rural electrification program, last mile connectivity, national street lighting program, electrification of public facilities, exploration and distribution of oil and gas, installation of transformers in constituencies, connectivity subsidy, and LPG distribution and infrastructure program. Mr. Speaker, since 1996, Kenya has continued to attract private investment into the infrastructure sectors, including the sectors such as telecommunication, energy, transport, water, and sewerage. Mr. Speaker, available public sector resources are linked to finance competing and critical infrastructure needs. In this context, Mr. Speaker, the government has recognized the critical role that can be played by the private sector in mobilizing resources for infrastructure development and is using PPP arrangement to accelerate infrastructure development, including the development of the 500 kilometers of roads under the annuity approach, the ongoing development of geothermal power, the construction of Kenyatta University hostels, the planned development of a seaport in Kisumu, the expansion of the Mombasa-Nairobi-Malaba highway, and the construction of the second Nyali Bridge in Mombasa, among others. Specifically, on the road annuity program, we expect to commence the construction of the first batch of the roads with funding from the annuity fund, which currently has received over 9.5 billion Kenya shillings.